Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I believe we have to start from Shloka 18, second line. We have already done the breakdown and have done the Shlokas. It's the Nama Atindriyaha is what my note says. Can somebody confirm, please? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Shantiji. So Atindraha, Indraha, Ati is superseding Indra. So Atindraha is somebody who transcends Indra, the king of gods in wisdom, greatness, etc., that are natural to him. The second meaning is we also know that Indra is the master of our Indriyas. Therefore, somebody who masters, somebody who can control the Manas and Indriyas is Atindraha, Bhagavan himself. The next nama is Sangrahaha. I thought we did this nama. Anyway, withdrawer of all.
Hello.
We did
Namaste.
that. We did that to Niyamaha.
Niyamaha. That's what I'm thinking. I believe we spoke about this when we discussed a little bit there.
You sent us a recording of that shloka too.
Okay, perfect. So we finished Niyamaha. We are doing from Yamaha.
Actually, we did Yamaha also as the
Yamaha also.
yeah.
Yeah. I think Vedyaha is where we will start.
That's right. Vedyo Vaidya Sada Yogi.
Oh. Atindra. Okay. Vedyo Vaidya Sada Yogi. Okay. And did we chant the shloka?
No.
You sent us a recording of that shloka. You sent us a voice recording of that shloka.
Okay.
Vedyo Vaidya, I don't remember receiving it.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just chant it once, and we'll go into the meanings themselves. Then, who would like to chant along with me?
I can do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Satiji. So breakdown is Vedyaha, Vaidyaha, Sada Yogi, Viraha, Madhavaha, basically Madhavaha, Madhuhu, and then Atindriyaha, Mahamayaha, Mahotsahaha, Mahabalaha. So in the second line there are 4 namas. In the first line there are 6. So we'll do one like the full lines, Satiji.
Okay.
Vedyo Vaidyas Sada Yogi Viraha Madhavo Madhuhu.
Vedyo Vaidya Sada Yogi Viraha Madhavo Madhu
Atindriyo Mahamayo Mahotsaho Mahabalaha.
Atindriyo Mahamayo Mahotsaho Mahabalaha.
Awesome, thank you. Since I've sent the recording, we'll do once for formality, and then we'll move into the namas, the meanings. Vedyaha, the knowable, by those that desire the supreme God. So we call as Triputi, means somebody who is the knower, the knowledge, and the one to be known. So Vedas, the knowledge, and there is something that is Vedyam by somebody, right? So he is the knowable from the Vedas. Any knowledge should ultimately reach to the knowledge of Bhagavan himself. So therefore he is the to be known, the knowable. The next nama is Vaidyaha, the knower of all the lores or all the vidyas. So obviously we know both like two different meanings for this nama. Vaidyaha is also as the Dhanvantari. He is also the Vaidya, the one who keeps our health. So this nama is used when somebody requires like some additional divine blessing for their health. So Om Vaidyaya Namaha is utilized. But that's one. And somebody who is the knower of all the vidyas is also the Vaidya. The next nama is Sada Yogi, the eternal yogin. As his essence is always manifest, he is awake at all times. I'm going to put this into not disturb mode. I don't like those sounds. Sada Yogi, somebody who is in that yoga sadhana or yoga nidra. Like, there are various forms of Bhagavan that we see in Padmanabha Swami temple. He is in the yoga nidra form, right? And I don't know if everybody knows that in Chaturmasya Vratam, Bhagavan goes to sleep in the yoga nidra and awakes after 4 months. And during those 4 months, devout Vaishnavas, especially Tridandis, they perform the Chaturmasya Vratam. So, but generally speaking, he is Sada Yogi and he is the Adi Yogi. And whether you take Adi Yogi as Shiva and Sada Yogi as Vishnu, to me there is no difference between them. Bhagavan himself is the master of all the yogis, and he is the one that is in the yoga all the time. The next nama is Viraha, and Shankaracharya quotes that this nama appears 2 more times, so overall in 3 times in the whole Vishnu Sahasranamam. This is the 166th nama, and we also have it as a 741 and the 927th namas. Here the meaning is Viraha means a slayer of the valiant or the demons, Asuras, in order to protect righteousness. He slays those who proclaim false doctrines. So Viraha, obviously we also know that he's the courageous, the valiant, and the one who is also the Viraha. Ha means Hanti or to kill. So somebody who kills the warriors or kills the valiant. Then the next nama, a very important nama, Madhavaha, the Lord of Knowledge. And Shankaracharya quotes Hari Vamsham here. He says, O Hari, you are the Lord, the Dhava of Ma or knowledge. Hence, you are named Madhava, the master of Ma. Yeah, if you are also attending Lalita Sahasranamam, in Sri Mata, we actually discussed Ma, the letter Ma, in a lot of detail. And we said Ma is somebody who is not available for measure. Or and Ma is knowledge. So he is the master of. Madhava is also considered mother's, somebody who is like the mother's pati. So an important nama overall. And there is a saying in Bhagavad Gita, I am beloved indeed of the wise. Because he is also, if somebody is knowledgeable, he is also the Dhava, the Lord of all the knowledgeable wise people. And the 24 Kesava namas that I sent, this nama also appears in those 24 namas. Madhuhu, the honey, he causes great satisfaction like honey. So there are some deeper meanings in Madhu, so I'm not going to go into that. We will see this at a later time. So the next nama is Atindriyaha. So this is where I was, like when I started the class. It's not Atindraha and Atindriyaha, both appear very close to each other. Transcending all senses, as he is not sound, etc., which are the objects of senses. Shruti, Kena Upanishad says he is beyond words, beyond grasp. And we've been studying this in Bhagavad Gita. We are saying he is beyond all senses. He is not perceivable through senses, or senses are not the pramana to understand Bhagavan. And why is that? Because he is not the object of the knowledge seeking. He is the subject himself, who is the seeker himself. It's complicated to discuss more about that here, so we are doing it in a lot more detail. But essentially, there are various pramanas through which we can gain knowledge. So if I have to learn a little bit more about this phone, then my sense perceptions, I can look at it, I can touch it, I can feel it. So my senses can give me knowledge about this phone, but in order to understand Bhagavan in the real sense of the Satchidananda Parabrahman, it is not possible through sense perception. So therefore, Shruti is the pramanam, is what we say. There are various pramanas, types of pramanas, no pratyaksha pramana, and the inference, analogies, and all of that. And Shruti pramana is the only pramana that can tell us what he is not. Therefore, we have to deduce what he is. Okay, with that, moving to 170th Nama, Mahamaya.
That
Go ahead.
Shruti, that is from Upanishads, right? No.
Shruti is Vedas.
Veda, but the end of it.
So,
I thought Shruti is here. Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Padmaji. Sorry.
That comes in the end of the Veda concept. That maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah.
So, Shruti is all the four Vedas, and within the Vedas, there are four parts to it. The Samhitas, the first part, which is eulogies to God. And then the Brahmanas, the Karma Yoga part, how to do rituals, is in the Brahmanas. Aranyakas is once somebody attains, like, Vanaprastham, and they're meditative, Upasana oriented. And then there are Upanishads, which is Jnana oriented. Throughout what we learn from Samhitas to Brahmanas to Aranyakas, the essence is always to reach that higher supreme. But when it reaches to Upanishad, that's when the Mahavakyas come into picture. So Shruti is something that is heard. Shru, like now the Shrunoti is Shruti, right? Something rishis heard, and they, because they have the Atindriya Shakti, they are able to hear sounds that are beyond our general capability of human beings, and they were able to write those down, and or they actually passed on that through, like, the tradition of oral tradition. So Shruti includes all the four parts of the Vedas.
Okay.
Upanishads provide the jnana about Bhagavan in a more detailed way compared to what is in the Samhitas, Brahmanas, and Aranyakas. It's a lot more subtle in the previous three. So the simple, I think the most easiest example that I can give, we chant, like, we do, children get the Gayatri Diksha before going to school at the age of 7 or even earlier. Even Gayatri Mantram is supposed to be praying to get ourselves to Bhagavan, or get to understand what the real essence of who we are. The essence is Atman. But a child doing Sandhya Vandanam would not understand it until they go to the point of Jnana Yoga to understand Upanishads. So therefore, Shruti includes everything. Upanishads have Jnana Yoga.
Sure.
Awesome. Mahamayaha, the great illusionist, as he subjects even the greatest illusionists to illusion. Bhagavad Gita says, my elusive power, Maya, is very difficult to overcome. I am veiled by the illusion created by the Yoga Maya, is Bhagavad Gita, is quoted here by Shankaracharya. And this is not, Maya is not Mithya. And we've been looking at, like, what is Satyam and what is Mithya. Mithya being the dependent existence, and Satya is the only existent, the origin of all existence. Maya, on the other side, is that illusion that the dependent existence causes on us to assume that the dependent existence is the truth. if I did not make sense with that sentence. So we believe the truth to end at the point of what we see. To give an analogy, during day, we don't see stars. And if I'm new to the world, and if I have not seen a night sky, then I will not believe that there are stars. That is illusion. If I can get wait a bit of time and I will get to see the night sky, then my illusion is gone because I see it. But seeing is not through just sense perceptions, whether I can see or feel, like, with our indriyas. It's beyond that when we are trying to see Paramatman. So what Maya causes us to do is what is in front of us feels very real. And in Dakshinamurti Stotram, the first line, I don't know how many times I quote it, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagarim, is what Shankaracharya says. It actually feels like a mirror image, an illusion. But we feel this is the truth, and we tend to not see beyond this illusion. So Bhagavan himself causes that Maya, and it is not easy to go beyond that Maya. So he is the Mahamayaha. And we would wonder, why would you create the illusion and then give us a puzzle that we have to find you? And why is it so difficult that I can't find you with my senses? Those are the instruments that you gave me. I don't know if anybody asked that question ever to Bhagavan.
I was just thinking about it, Sriji. Why is so much of struggle? Like he's right there, but like still we are not able to like see him or feel him. So much of maze like to go through to reach the center point.
Exactly.
Just, yeah.
And then after all of this, the guru comes and says, Tattvamasi, you are it.
Exactly.
The next nama is Mahotsahaha, of great diligence, because creation, preservation, and withdrawal of the universe are carried on by him diligently. So the other part of the other meaning of this, sorry, there's some background noise. Utsahaha is also means enthusiasm or excitement. So he is also the absolute measure of that enthusiasm. So I don't know how if you feel when you study Vishnu Sahasranamam, you actually feel like all the attributes, all the attitudes, and everything around you is surrounded by Paramatman. Everything is defining Paramatman. So maintaining that enthusiasm in our life is actually living his truth. So I don't know if that sentence made any sense. There are like all the positive characteristics. The negative characteristics also are him, but the positive characteristics are what we try to live to be closer to him. And utsahaha is one of those important characteristics, doing everything with that same enthusiasm and same energy, whether you like or don't like. So we've seen in Bhagavad Gita classes that don't categorize things into likes and dislikes, because that's where the whole raga, dvesha, and all of those come into picture. So without differentiating a particular duty to be something you like or not, or an activity, do it with utsaha. The next nama is Mahabalaha, of great strength, being stronger than the strongest. He never feels tired, as he is self-established in his own glory, is what Chandogya Upanishad says. Again, to the same point previously, Maha Utsahaha and Mahabalaha, of great strength, doing our activities just like what Bhagavan would do for creating the universe and for sustaining and maintaining the universe. And even when it comes to Pralaya, he does it with the same enthusiasm. We have to utilize some like our utsaha and our strength to do our activities that are defined for our based on our prarabdha. The next nama is Mahabuddhihi, Oh, we are going into next shloka, so let's look at the next shloka. Sorry. Mahabuddhihi, Mahaviryaha, Mahashaktihi, Mahadyutihi. So there are 4 namas in the first line of the 19th shloka. And the next line, Anirdeshya Vapuhu is one nama. And previously we have seen Vapuhu as an individual nama. Here it is combined with Anirdeshya Vapuhu, Sriman, Ameyatma, and Mahadri Dhrik. When we are chanting the shloka, it's like what one of my gurujis he calls like a banana peel. It's pretty easy to slip on this because this Mahadri is a regular the Alpa Prana, and Dhrik, that is the Mahaprana. Who would like to chant the shloka with me?
I can do it, Guruji.
Awesome. So we'll do one line each, Anitaji.
Okay.
Mahabuddhirmahaviryo mahashaktirmahadyutihi
Mahabuddhirmahaviryo Mahashaktirmahadyudihi
Anirdeshya Ameyatma Mahadridhrik.
Anirdeshavapuh Shriman Ame Atma Mahadridrik
Mahadridhrik.
Mahadridrik.
Yeah. And Shriman and Ameyatma, because of Sandhi rules, they get connected as Shriman Ameyatma. So we'll chant the full shloka one more time. Mahabuddhirmahaviryo Mahashaktirmahadyutihi Anirdeshya Vapuh Shriman Ameyatma Mahadridhrik.
Mahabuddhirmahaviryo Mahashaktirmahadridihi Anirdeshavapuh Shriman Ame Atma Mahadridrik
Mahadridhrik.
Mahadridrik.
So divide that into 2 different words. Mahadri.
Mahadridrik.
Yeah. Dhrik. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. We'll look at the meanings. Mahabuddhihi, as everybody can expect what that means, of mighty intellect, being wiser than the wisest. Again, utilizing the mind, like the buddhi. There are layers to buddhis, right? Like, there are layers to intelligence. Pure knowledge is not sufficient. And I don't know
Sorry,
where
Guruji. The second line has got 5 namas or
4 namas.
4 namas. Thank you.
Yeah. Anirdeshya Vapuhu, Shriman, Ameyatma, Mahadridhrik is one nama.
Thank you.
So I misplaced notes from one of the classes that I attended where they gave 9 levels of intelligence or 9 levels of knowledge. When you acquire knowledge, what do you do with it? What are the activities that happen? So I actually missed that particular information quite often. So having knowledge is not sufficient. It is how do you utilize it and what are the next steps that you take into it. So Mahabuddhi is of the highest level of intelligence that's available. And at a creator level, at the macrocosmic level, Bhagavan is utilizing that Mahabuddhi to do his activities. Again, all of these are practical steps for us on utilizing that same Mahabuddhi in our microcosmic level on how to not just leave knowledge as, oh, I acquired some knowledge and I'm good with it, whether it is knowledge about Vedas, whether it is knowledge about something that you do in your professional career, take that knowledge to be Bhagavan himself and turn that, take that into the next levels of intelligence. Mahaviryaha, of great energy, possessed of energy of the nature of avidya, which generates mahat. So I'll read that one more time. Possessed of energy of the nature of avidya, which generates mahat. His strength is never diminished. So avidya has that same, like moving from avidya to vidya is the what as human beings do, is to gain that knowledge. And from the day of birth, the child is trying to, like as soon as our child is born, they're trying to learn how to breathe. And start, like some philosopher actually calls it, like they start with crying, which I don't accept. Like that's probably the only time somebody should cry, and after that it's all going to be like to be blessed life and enjoy life as it is provided to us. So turning that avidya into vidya, it requires a lot of strength and lots of courage, utilizing our energy to move from darkness to light, ignorance to knowledge is what needs to happen during our lifetime. The next nama is Mahashaktihi, of immense power. The gloss, Kaivalyopanishad, says inconceivable in his power. And I don't think we need a lot of description of understanding his Shakti. So he is of immense power, or Mahat. The Shabda itself is prove the absolute nature of his Shakti. The next nama is Mahadyutihi, of great splendor, internally and externally. Shruti says, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, he is self-radiant, and Mundaka Upanishad actually says, he is the light of lights. So we've seen some namas in Bhagavad Gita class yesterday, like Swatas Siddhaha. Somebody who is self-illuminant or self-eminent and provides that to everything else that exists. So Mahadyuti, he is of great splendor and he is self-radiant and provides that radiance to everything that exists. And yesterday we were also talking about how that radiance can be manipulated because of the colorings of our vrittis and our minds, and how we reflect that radiance to another person watching us, because it's the Atman that is inside. So some people have this, like this it's very translucent. You approach a siddha or a rishi or a yogi, you immediately feel that reverence. And for somebody else, and yesterday Pranati was asking about, oh my God, I can't believe Hitler's Atma is the same as my Atma. And how is that? A fantastic question, right? Like, how can Hitler be the same Atman as me? It's how much our vrittis, our mind and our raga dveshas, and how we take, how our reactions to any of the actions, any of the scenarios that get presented, how our ego works, they form a coloring over the Atma. And then there is either it is translucent or like completely transparent if it's a rishi, or we give it colorings. And I don't think we spoke about this analogy, and I keep bringing up the same analogies, just like Shankaracharya's analogies, not mine. Yeah, he says, put a deepam under an inverted pot with a lot of holes in it, and cover the holes with a red glass and a blue glass and a transparent glass and a glass covered in soot. You will see the deepam through those holes in the colors that you have put the glass in. Like, red colored glass reflects the deepam as red colored light, but essentially the light is not different. It is what we do to it, and ensuring that the radiance that is of the Atman needs to be reflected as much as possible in that same splendor as Bhagavan is. So that is an effort that we have to put in into our practical steps. The next nama is Anirdeshya Vapuhu, of indefinable form, as it is impossible to define it to others as this or that, for he is self-realized. Okay, I'm moving to the next nama.
Can you repeat that once again, Guruji?
Sure, absolutely. Of indefinable form. His form cannot be defined. And we've spoken about this previously too. In Purusha Suktam, it says what you see, the whole universe with this billions and billions and billions of galaxies, is only 1/4 of Bhagavan himself. So he is even if you want to define him to the extent of our telescopes have been able to send us images, even that is not able to define his magnanimity. He is beyond definition of form.
Yes.
The other part of undefining is he is pure consciousness that doesn't have a form. So he is the nirakara is the term that we use. He doesn't have a form, and therefore anirdeshya vapuhu. Next nama, Shriman, the Lord of all prosperities. And we've spoken about this too previously. There are Bhagavan, the word itself means Bhaga, or the six Aishwaryas, or six kinds of prosperities, like Aishwarya, Virya, Yashash, strength, and all of that. So Shriman, somebody who is, so two different names for it. His Shakti is Shri. So therefore, he is the master, or he's the lord of that Shakti, Shri or Lakshmi. And he is the, therefore, actually, if you look at it from a different perspective, because of his Shakti, he is all prosperous and possesses these six prosperities in absolute measure. The next nama is Ameyatma, of remarkable intelligence which cannot be measured. And Valmiki in Ramayana says he is unfathomable as the ocean. So while we say he is of remarkable intelligence, I would call it he is the intelligence himself. Because even for a child prodigy, somebody like a Shakuntala Devi or somebody, we can also say, oh my God, she's of remarkable intelligence. So I don't want you to misunderstand and interpret that to be of measurable quantity. He is immeasurable. His intelligence is, I will not even say his intelligence is. He is intelligence himself. The next nama is Mahadridhrik, and Mahadridhrit is also the second variation. So both variations are valid. Bearer of the great mountain. He supported the Mandara mountain and Govardhana mountains when the ocean was churned and when the cows were protected respectively. So I think everybody knows those from the Bhagavata Purana and Vishnu Puranam. The Mandara mountain, he was the Adi Kurmam in the Kurma Avatara. He managed the mountain on his back, and when the Devas and the Asuras churned the Milky Ocean. And in Govardhana and Bhagavatam, we know that he lifted the Govardhana mountain to save everybody in the village from Indra's ego. Okay, so moving to the next shloka. I'll break the shloka first. We are looking at shloka 20. Maheshvasaha Mahibharta Shrinivasaha Satangatihi Aniruddhaha Suranandaha Govindaha Govidampatihi is one nama. So we are looking at 4 namas in the first line and 4 namas in the second line. Who would like to chant this sloka with me? No takers?
No, nobody, I can do it quickly.
Can, it's okay.
Sorry, I didn't get if it is Rajamji or in somebody else.
Yeah. Can I do it?
Yes, absolutely, Rajamji. So I'll do the first line and then we'll do a full shloka after finishing line by line. Maheshvaso Mahibharta Srinivasas Satangatihi
महेश्वासो मयि भर्ता श्रीनिवासस्तथां गतिः
Aniruddhas Suranando Govindo Govidampatihi
अनिरुद्धः सुरानन्दो गोविन्दो गोवितां पतिः
Maheshvaso Mahibharta Bharta Srinivasa Satangatihi Aniruddha Suranando Govindo Govidampatihi.
महेश्वासो मयि भक्त श्रीनिवासः सतां गतिः अनिरुद्धः सुरानन्दो गोविन्दो गोवितां पतिः.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rajamji. So we'll look at this nama. Maheshvasaha, Shankaracharya writes as of mighty bow. The glossary is Sri Rama says to his brother, "Bring my bow and arrows, O son of Sumitra." This shows he was ever ready to use his mighty bow to protect the good. And there is a significance of the bow and arrows, and like all the different I'd call them instruments. I'm used to calling it of all the weapons that are they have different significances, and there is something called as Panchayuda Stotram, that is for Lord Narayana or Mahavishnu. But there is an Ayudha Stotram where they talk about including why Shanmukha has a veil versus veil. I think that's the right pronunciation. And versus Shiva has a Trishulam, and why Mahavishnu has 5 different astras, why Mother has 4 astras, and things like that. So at some point we'll discuss those. But know that bow and arrow has an important significance. Maheshvasaha, of mighty bow. Mahi Bharta, the upholder of the earth, when it was submerged in the great waters. So here, which avatar are we talking about? Anybody?
Kurma.
Kurma avatar. Thank you.
Varaha.
Varaha avatar. Varaha avatar. Srinivasaha, the dwelling place of Shri. For the goddess of prosperity ever dwells on his chest. Shri Nivasaha. Okay. Satangatihi, the refuge of the good, the followers of the Vedas, to them he is the means of attaining all the human aspirations. So this nama appears twice, Satangatihi at 184 and also in 450. So there are 2 different ways of looking at this nama. While Shankaracharya is taking the meaning of refuge of the good. So for all boons that we seek from him. So if I'm the follower of a Veda, I go to Bhagavan to get what I need. But the other way is for the satas, or for the good people, or for the followers of the Vedas, he is the gati, he is the ultimate destination from following all the dharmic activities that we do throughout the life. He is the gati. And a similar nama that we have seen is Paramagatihi. So we have already seen that nama. So this is similar. The next nama is Aniruddhaha. And in the book it says it's also the 638th nama. The unobstructed in his manifestations by anyone. Niruddha means to stop or to put an obstacle to, but he cannot be stopped. Aniruddhaha or Aniruddhaha, his manifestations by anyone. When we say manifestations, doesn't mean only his avatars, all his activities. There is a reason and a rationale behind all of his activities, and nobody can put a stop to it, or they cannot obstruct it. Yesterday I was listening to a pravachanam, and I thought, I'll just share it here. Apparently, this is from, there's something called as like Veyi Padagal by Vishwanath Satyanarayana Shastri Garu in Telugu. So in that he wrote some slokas. When Rama and his 3 brothers were born, apparently everybody wanted to view them and spend time with their children. And Dasharatha opened up the doors for people to come and spend time with the infants. And they were very young. And the description is that Rama, when he was picked by women, he would not do anything, but whenever he was picked by men, he would be touching their heads, and just tapping on the heads and checking. It's all as if checking out the heads. Whereas Lakshmana would have been a different way. So he would be very calm and cool when he was picked up by men. But when he was picked up by women, he would be touching their ears. And the description is that because he's an avatara, as soon as he's born, he is on the duty. So he knows, Ravana has 10 heads. So whenever somebody picks him up, a man picks him up, then he would just touch to make sure that this person is not Ravana and doesn't have 10 heads. Whereas Lakshmana is looking for Surpanaka, so he is looking at touching the ears and just ensuring that this is not Surpanaka that is picking him up. So I felt that was funny. So somebody who cannot obstruct because he is always on that duty and will get things done. Suranandaha, he who gladdens the gods. Suras are gods, and to them he provides ananda. And we've seen that, we've previously spoken about this too in Vishnu Padadikeshanta Stotram. Adi Shankaracharya describes that, when suras or gods bow in front of Sri Mahavishnu, the shine of the toenails and reflect on their crowns, and that reflection actually causes them to close their eyes because it's quite bright. There is a bright reflection from the toenails. So somebody who provides ananda to the gods. Govindaha, the reclaimer of the earth. The Mahabharata Moksha Dharma in Shanti Parvam says, I first rescued Vinda, the earth, which was carried away and hidden in the depths of the ocean by an asura. Hence, I am praised by the appellation Govinda by gods and scriptures. The Harivamsham says, I am Indra over the Devas, your lord over the cows. Hence, the world will ever praise you as Govinda. Speech too is named Go. And since you confer speech, O Lord, the sages call you Govinda. So you will see the number of different kind of meanings that are being given to us. So one is Govinda because he rescued earth. Then he's the lord of Indra, Devas, therefore, and that's why he's also Govinda. He's the lord over cows, therefore Govinda. He confers speech, therefore Govinda. And Go plus Vid has the following 10 meanings that are being given here. One is Swarga, so he transcends heaven. The second meaning is arrows, he knows all the weapons. Cattle, he is the leader of the ignorant ones. Speech, he is to be known by the Vedas. Thunderbolt, he is the Vajra marks on his feet. Quarters, he is known in all quarters, like all directions. Eyes, he is in the person residing in the eyes. This is the Chaksha Vidya we have previously talked about. He is in the person residing in the eyes. The sun, he is in the disk of the sun. This is the Hiranyagarbha Nama we have already seen. Earth, he recovered the earth from the Titans. And waters, his seat is in the waters. So therefore, Govinda Namam has so many meanings. So you can understand the importance of this Nama. And this is also in the 24 Keshava Namas. The next Nama is, it's to 945. So we'll stop here. So I will remember it's 188, the Nama that we have to do, Govidam Patihi, next week. Any thoughts before we conclude with the Shanti Mantra?
Do you mind saying that 9 meanings one more time, please?
Sure. First one is Swarga. Second is arrows. Third is cattle. Fourth is speech. Fifth one is thunderbolt, Vajra. Sixth one is quarters. Seventh is eyes. Eighth is the sun. Ninth is the earth. And 10th is the waters.
Okay, thank you.
Problem.
Guruji, whenever in temple when they say Govinda, I never used to connect all like this. I only used to think like Lord over cows and
Cows,
things
yeah.
like that. That is what like, comes in the mind. Like I never knew this had so many meanings.
Yeah. And just, chanting that, I think the first thing that comes to mind as soon as I wake up is this Achyutananta Govinda. And just saying those three namas, like, of the 24, there are three, and there is one, like, you can just deduce it to make it just, a Narayana mantram, like, is the ultimate. Yeah. Knowing the meanings actually makes us connect to the Lord in such deeper extent, right? Like that's what I personally feel. Okay, we'll conclude with a Shanti mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarvam Sriman Narayana Charanar Vindarpanamastu. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you.
Namaskaram.
Thank you very
Namaskaram.
Dhanyavadah.
Dhanyavadah.
Happy
much.
happy